Yeah, welcome to this hangout, by the way. And yeah, we have a few questions posted already by a couple of folks. But if there are any live questions, we can take those, and then we can go to the questions posted on the G+ page.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah,
Can you
go
guys
ahead.
hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Awesome. Good morning, by the way.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning. So I run a website in Ahmedabad, and it's Flex Time. It's basically a movie show timing website. So when someone searches like queries like movies in Ahmedabad, show timings in Ahmedabad, right? So now Google has come up with the cards where they automatically show the timings.
Mm-hmm.
With me, right, guys?
Features, yeah, feature snippets.
Yes. So now what has changed in the past 6 months is Google has started providing the timings, and if someone clicks on the timing, it redirects to the Book My Show website.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, got it.
So we just want to understand that me being a competitor to those websites, I mean, first, how this works, how this engagement is working with you and the Book My Show. Is it something like of an agreement? Second, if a competitor or a second website would like to take advantage of this feature, how can we do it?
Okay, so so basically, there is no agreement as such to show particular results from a particular website. So this happens dynamically. We can show featured snippets from any of the results that appear on the first page of the 10 links, for example. And this may not necessarily come from, again, the first result. And this can come from any of the results. What you can do is, if you can mark up your content, whatever is markable, and then ensure that it is good quality, and then it is very dynamic. I mean, there is no whitelisted sites, for example, from which we pick these snippets from, and it may differ from query to query, to user, from time to time. Snippets from various websites. Whatever we think is relevant for a user, whatever he or she is searching, whatever we see fit, we just show those snippets.
So if I mark up my website well and make it absolutely clean, we have a chance of also getting or taking advantage of that snippet. Is that what you're saying?
Of course, you do have a chance, just like how much chance you may have for ranking for that content, for example, right? So it is not a guarantee. When you mark your content up, it is not a guarantee that we will pick from you, because there are several websites marking up their content, right? So just like how ranking works, we look at various factors to determine, like, for that user, for that query, what results we need to show. Similarly, we decide on like similar ways to show the feature snippets as well.
All right. Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll take a question from.
I have a question. Can I ask?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. See, we recently migrated our website to HTTPS. Okay. So the problem what we have seen is that, like, our AdSense revenue, like, we almost saw a dip almost like 30 to 40%. And another thing is that though our traffic, we saw a slight dip in our traffic, but although it came back like how it was normal, but our AdSense revenue, we see a dip in AdSense revenue. So I just wanted to understand, like, because I was just Googling, like, even my team was Googling what is the problem. So most of the people have highlighted this, like, when you shift your website to HTTPS, even they notice this dip in AdSense revenue. So should we shift it back, like, or what would you recommend? Like, because there has been some talks that from January onwards, that Google will put a notification saying that this website is not safe. I don't know how true it is. Like, so that was the main reason why we migrated our website to HTTPS. And it's not an e-commerce website. It is basically a news blog kind of thing. So what would you recommend?
Yeah, from our side, we definitely recommend keeping the HTTPS, because so pretty much we expect most of the websites to go secure, and we've been pushing for HTTPS for quite some time, purely because all of your users' data will stay secure.
Okay.
And that's the reason why we even announced HTTPS as a minor ranking signal.
Okay.
So I would keep HTTPS and figure out like where exactly you're losing your AdSense revenue. Maybe you can speak to AdSense rep on the forums and ask them like from an ads perspective, like what's the problem with HTTPS and maybe fix that. But removing HTTPS is definitely not the solution.
Yeah, so one
Okay.
thing I wanted to clarify is, of course, as Ashish mentioned, probably you need to speak to AdSense folks or AdSense team because we're not experts in that.
Okay.
And like as to what could be happening there.
Okay.
What you heard about, I mean, Google, taking action against sites that are not secure starting January, that is not true.
Okay.
Of course, it is one of the things to look at when we rank sites because we want to give people experience which is secure. But it is kind of one of those small things.
So even if our website doesn't serve any e-commerce related stuff, would you still recommend us to still stick with HTTPS? Because we are basically into news slash news/blog kind of website.
Sure. So irrespective of what kind of website you have, so Tarun, I'll mute you for a moment.
Yeah, sure.
And then you can unmute you. Okay, great. Thank you. Because there was some echo, okay? So when you want to speak, please unmute yourself and then you can. So yeah, I mean, irrespective of what type of content you have, what type of website you have, HTTPS is still recommended because it is not just about taking user data on your website when that kind of protection is needed, but any user accessing your website. For example, if your website is not secure, then that user can be tracked down as to what articles they are reading, what kind of websites they are visiting, and stuff like that by anybody who's sniffing on their network. So irrespective of what kind of website you have, even if you have a plain blog, it is highly recommended that you have HTTPS on.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Next question.
I have one more question. Can I?
Go ahead.
Okay. So recently Google shared with us that now they are moving to mobile first index.
Yes.
Right. So and this means that for the websites which has a little different content than a desktop, they need to take some actions. Okay. So with respect to that, I have a very specific question. I have a different website. So one is of like a mobile desktop version, that's FlixTime, and another one is a mobile like m.flixtime. Now the content on both of the websites, there is only marginal difference, like only 10% or say 5% of the difference in the content of the desktop website that's been serving and the mobile website that's been serving. So do you think the change will impact my website's ranking?
Okay, so the thing with mobile first indexing is that, of course, we are. I mean, this is an experiment we are doing right now. It is not implemented as such across search, and we are using like basically on a very few websites. I mean, portion of search we are experimenting this with, and based on how this goes and based on our learnings, we will take this further. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, whenever it may happen, of course, we will prioritize indexing mobile pages than we do desktop pages. However, it doesn't mean that we are going to ignore desktop pages altogether. We want to give equal experience to users from mobile and from desktop, wherever they're coming from, right? So, but of course, I mean, if your content is, I mean, if you're serving lesser content on your mobile pages, then we would definitely recommend you that make those pages fuller. But if the difference is like very minor, ignorable, I don't think there is really so much for you to worry about. If the content, I mean, if it is significant difference, then you may have to think about how you can provide all that content on your mobile devices, definitely. But as I said, I mean, this is still in the experiment phase. This is not implemented across the index. So I mean, you still have time. We still have time, So yeah, I mean, there are some guidelines we have posted on our blog. You can go through those guidelines as well, and then we will continue to like post updates as we have.
Yeah.
All right.
Also,
Thank you.
just adding, just make sure, like from your mobile pages side, there are no. You can look in Search Console if there are any URL redirects or any like problematic things with your mobile page, so that like users are not facing any issues with your website on mobile, like in terms of user experience or speed also. So because those things will be like more important, because we're trying to provide as good an experience on mobile as desktop, right? So you'd want to make sure the pages load quickly and there's no like bad redirects or anything of that sort.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, Ashish, can I ask one question?
Yeah, go ahead. So we just have some questions in the chat. So we'll take first question from Pitambar and then from Manuel. And
Okay.
okay, first question from Pitambar. We have an e-commerce site for that. How to choose new and unique keywords, because all the best keywords gather top sites like Amazon, Flipkart. Okay, Pitambar. So it's not about choosing keywords. It's more about like, what kind of content are you providing that's that's useful to your users that others aren't providing. So this is pretty much like this is less SEO and pretty much any content providers advice. Just make sure whatever content you have on your website that's useful for the person who's visiting your website. Like if I have to say it in one sentence, that's pretty much it. So less about keywords and more about whatever content you're providing, make sure that's useful, and slowly the ranking will come. And it doesn't happen at once. You have to build it as time goes. Sorry if this is vague, but that's pretty much it.
So one thing you can also do is look in your Search Console, Search Analytics page, and see what type of keywords people are typing in search to get to your pages, and that may give you some hints as to like what your pages are relevant for and things like that.
I think Google search trends would be useful than Search Console.
Yes, search trends and search.
Okay. We have a question from Manuel.
Okay, can I
Yeah, go
ask?
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Actually a couple of questions, but just let me know if I have time. One is about, I have a type of pages. They are part of a blog, but a specific type of pages, they get updated frequently because they get new information, and I add them. So things like next year there will be different things, new models, new versions. And what happens is that in Google's research results always appears the creation date of the page. So I wonder if it is possible to somehow hint to Google to show the last update, so the page does not look old because the page is being frequently updated, or at least made it not show any date at all, because it would be misleading to show the original creation date. Yeah,
there is definitely a way to tell Google that the content is updated. So there is some meta tag that you can use. We will post a link to that resource after this Hangout on the event page, so you can access that. There is definitely a way, and Google definitely considers those things. There are a couple of ways you can do that, through HTTP headers or through the HTML meta tags, basically. Yeah.
Yes, I'm already using the last modified header to show the last updated, but still not working. I also use the schema article date modified, and with the date.
Yeah.
So I wonder what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah, sometimes if you have like more than one date on your page, they could be, I mean, Google may not be able to pick the right date sometimes. So, I mean, if you are having difficulty with this, the best thing to do, I mean, to debug is to, if you could post this in our forums, then we can take a closer look at that and answer the question.
Also,
however, yeah.
One thing I want to point out is sometimes there could be issues on our side. So if it's not like a long issue, but if it comes in once in a while, it could be an issue on our side also. So
yeah.
So if you just post it on the forums, if there's an ongoing issue that's problematic with the dates, then we can like just inform you. So because you don't have to worry that something is wrong on your side.
Yeah, I posted in the Webmaster Central forums. I don't know if you have different forums for Hindi.
No, that's
Yeah, well, unfortunately, not many people posted, but if a good response. So if I can send you a link for you to show what is going on, that would be great.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, later, if I have time, I also would like to ask you about embedding videos in YouTube. Can I ask now or wait for my turn later?
On YouTube or search? Because if it's for YouTube, we probably may not know the answer.
No, I mean, I have pages that publish Hangouts, and I would like them to be listed as page, because in the pages have the transcripts and other details that will not appear on YouTube. The YouTube just have for those that would like to subscribe. So when I search for pages, it appears on web, but for videos, it always appears YouTube, never the page that on which I display the video with all the details, with the transcripts, the show notes, and so on.
Have a unique URL for the particular page, and like and a title and description and all that separately for that particular page. Because I'd recommend setting up a video sitemap and having a proper like having proper titles and descriptions and like thumbnails and everything for the particular page. Because when we're so if we want to index images and videos, we need like separate like proper titles and descriptions. If we don't get that for a particular video, we'll probably not index that as a separate page. So it will show up in search results, but it may not show up in video results. So I'd recommend having unique URLs for like each of those video pages and setting up proper titles and descriptions. Like you can go to our help center page and we have like detailed information on how to get your videos indexed in search.
So primarily what Ashish is suggesting is make that video the primary content of that page. So if you, for example, if you have that video embedded on a page and then you have a lot of unrelated content, which could be primary content of that page, then there are chances that this may not appear in the video results. But if you make a dedicated page for that video and then you have the title and the description and everything and probably comments and stuff like that, where this video is the primary content of that page, then your chances increases of that video appearing in video results.
I'd say like best to like go through the instructions in like how to index videos in our help center. Like regarding this, we have like very detailed.
Yes, I had the video sitemaps in the past, but I used the old YouTube API. It was not working anymore, so I have to redo that. I'll submit the video sitemap and see how it goes. Thanks.
We'll move on to the next question from Neeraj.
Yeah, Ashish.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ashish, actually, right now I am very close to do site move for a good traffic website basically. But the problem is that blog section of my existing website will remain the same.
Sorry. Can you repeat that?
Yes. Actually, I am just going to make site move, but a part of this site will remain existing.
Okay.
Blog is in subfolder for now, and we are not having any plan to migrate blog to.
Okay.
So the problem that I am facing is when I went through all Google Help Center and all documents, I just came to know that CSS, JavaScript file, images should also be redirected to new website. Okay. In such case, one thing was how to behave with JavaScript and CSS files. Should I redirect? Should I just leave them because I am still running blog in the same URL that it is currently? And the second thing was, in Search Console, do I need to make change of address because blog will still remain on the same URL?
I'd recommend doing change of address still because like most of your content is moving, but because your blog will still stay the same, I don't think that would be affected. But like this is definitely like not a regular case, so you can just test and see if after you do a change of address, if your blog pages are still ranking the same or if there's any difference. I don't think there would be any difference, because for those particular pages, we won't see any respective pages in the new site. So we'll still count pages as canonicals. So I don't think there should be any issue for those particular, like the blog pages. But for the remaining site, I definitely recommend doing a change of address.
Okay, and what for JavaScript and CSS folder? If I redirect to new website, obviously, if there is any location in my existing blog, then it might affect them.
So I assume when you are moving the website, yeah. So when you're moving this website, by the way, your blog, is it on a subdomain or a subdirectory?
Subfolder / blog, yes.
Okay, okay. So as for moving, redirecting your scripts, I think if they are still being used by your blog, then one thing you can do is create copies of these and then host it on your new website. And then on the new website pages, link to these resources instead of linking them back to the here, back to the old website. Do you get it?
Okay, so it means that I have to create a copy of JavaScript and CSS folder in new domain and link this new location and just disconnect it from old website.
Absolutely, because we are not considering your JavaScript and CSS files for, there is no value attached to those as there is value attached to your pages, right? In terms of page rank and other things. So you can just make a copy of these things in this particular situation and then host it separately, and then from the new website link to these resources and keep the old resources as is on your old website, on the blog.
Okay, thanks. Because I was just going to do this, it was very good that I just cleared this with you.
Okay,
today.
that's great. That's great.
Hello, can I ask?
Go ahead.
Hi, Google recently changes its news article schema on that page for a developed Google guideline, and for the new changes showing that we have to mention only a headline and image URL on news article schema for non-AMP pages, and we have to mention all the entities for AMP pages like logo, publisher, description. So I just want to know that it is mentioned that it is ignored by Google. So Google will ignore if we mention all the entities on non-MP pages, or we have to ignore.
Okay, so I think this is specific to Google News guidelines, which may not be very aware of. But in general, when you have markup more than what Google recommends, then Google basically ignores it. It is not that it is going to affect you negatively in any way. So you are free to have markup if it is being used by other bots or other things that you have, that you're using or your users may be using. But it is not going to affect you in a negative way. Unless, for example, if you have heavy markup that is absolutely not being used by anybody, but that is slowing down your page and things like that, then as a consequence of that, you may see some effect in search. But otherwise, if those are not the issues, then just the markup itself is not going to affect.
Okay, just ask one question regarding, is there any hangout available for news specific guidelines only, so that it will be good for me to ask more questions?
Okay, so as far as I'm aware of, there is no.
I have no idea, but maybe you can check with the product forums in news product.
Yeah, the best thing right now to do is to post in their forum. We have a forum for news as well on support.google.com. So if you could post there and ask probably if they have, then you may be able to plug in.
Okay, thank you.
Great, welcome.
All right, let's move on to the next. So we'll take a question from the Webmasters page. So it's from Vaibhav. He's asking if I have infinite scrolling on my mobile page, and how does the Google mobile first indexing change this? I think from infinite scrolling perspective, like if your mobile site previously was ranking, Google was indexing your mobile site previously too. So if it was like indexing the page properly previously, like I don't see why there should be any change now. So if you have set up pagination and everything properly and set up like HTML push state, we'll recognize that. So I think like at least if it was like being indexed properly previously, I don't see any big change.
Yeah, so one thing to note here, what Ashish mentioned is having all parts of that content available in a paginated form, right? So for example, if you just have infinite scrolling on your mobile website, and then there is no way to access that pieces of content that load on user action by a unique URL, then there are chances that Google may not discover those pages, that content. So what you can do is, in fact, I think we also have an example made by John Mueller on this particular thing, and some details as well that we have in a blog post. We will share those links as well after this Hangout. You can go through that. Basically, what we are suggesting is, besides providing this infinite scrolling, also provide this content in a paginated form that can be accessed with unique URLs. Make sure that there is no duplicate in between those. But just like how pagination works, if you could provide a feature like that as well, then Google will be able to crawl your pages, and there should be no problems.
What is the limit of scrolling down for Google? Any specific? How much it will scroll, and after which point it will leave?
So as I said, Google is basically not scrolling your page, but it is relying on the paginated URLs that you're providing. So for example, if you have 100 products listed on one page, which is infinite scroll, you can divide it into like 10 pages, for example, 10 products per page, and then you give 10 pages in the series, and Google will be able to crawl all those 10 pages. And I'm not aware if there is any limit on this. I don't think there is a limit on the number of pages you can provide. Yes, but unless you're providing a correct pagination, just like how you do pagination, you know, link rel tags for pagination, next and previous. Yeah, similarly, if you could provide that, then Google should be able to index.
We have a question in the chat. Google console में जो keywords दिख रहा है, वो सब हाईली कंपटीशन में है. तो यूएस कीवर्ड से सर्च करेंगे तो मेरा साइट बहुत ही पीछे है, और कुछ कीवर्ड्स में तो है ही नहीं. आंसर
तो हमसे पीताम्बर ने सवाल किया है कि जो सर्च कंसोल में जो कीवर्ड्स दिखाई दे रहे हैं वो हाईली कॉम्पिटिटिव कीवर्ड्स हैं, और तो यूएस कीवर्ड से सर्च करेंगे तो मेरा तो
आई थिंक दिस इज उस कीवर्ड से,
तो उस कीवर्ड से सर्च करेंगे तो मेरा साइट बहुत ही पीछे है, और कुछ कीवर्ड्स में तो है ही नहीं. ठीक है पीताम्बर जी, मतलब तो ये बहुत ही मतलब ऐसा सवाल है कि मतलब ये बहुत ही सब्जेक्टिव इसका आंसर है. ये बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स पर डिपेंड करता है कि हम साइट को किस तरह से रैंक करते हैं. जैसा कि हमने बार बार बताया है कि हम 200 से ज़्यादा फैक्टर्स को देखते हैं कोई भी साइट रैंक करने से पहले. तो उसमें ये भी होता है कि मतलब जब कोई बंदा जब कोई कीवर्ड टाइप करता है तो हम ये देखते हैं कि उस बंदे के लिए कौन सी वेबसाइट बहुत ज़्यादा रिलेवेंट होगी और उस टाइम में, और बहुत सारी दूसरी चीज़ें हम वो भी देखते हैं. तो आपको मतलब यहाँ पे करना ये होगा कि मतलब आपका जो कंटेंट है उसको देखिएगा, और अगर आप सोशल मीडिया अगर यूज़ करते हैं तो अपनी वेबसाइट को थोड़ा सा पॉपुलर कीजिएगा, अपनी वेबसाइट पे थोड़ा यूज़र एंगेजमेंट बढ़ाइएगा, और अगर आपकी वेबसाइट पे अगर आप और कंटेंट डाल सकते हैं तो अपने कंटेंट कॉर्पोरा को थोड़ा सा एक्सपैंड कीजिएगा. ये थोड़ी सी चीज़ें हैं जो आप कर सकते हैं ताकि आपकी वेबसाइट थोड़ी और मतलब रिकॉग्नाइज हो जाए आपके यूज़र से, और यूजर्स उस पर मतलब उससे उनको वैल्यू मिलना शुरू हो जाए. तो फिर हो सकता है कि कुछ कीवर्ड्स के लिए आपकी वेबसाइट ज़्यादा रैंक होना शुरू हो जाए.
एक चीज़ और आई जस्ट वांटेड टू शेयर कि हो सकता है ये जो कीवर्ड्स देख रहे हैं ये अदर कंट्रीज पे कुछ और रैंकिंग हो इनकी, तो इस वजह से इन्हें सर्च कंसोल में देख रहा हूँ. जब ये मैनुअली इंडिया पे चेक करते हैं तो काफ़ी नीचे है. हो सकता है कुछ कंट्रीज पे रैंक कर रहे हैं. दिस इज व्हाई इट इज कमिंग अप इन सर्च कंसोल.
हो सकता है, बिल्कुल. नीरज ने बहुत ही अच्छी पॉइंट बताई है कि मतलब रैंकिंग जो है एक बहुत ही डायनेमिक है. मतलब जब आप एक कीवर्ड के लिए अपने आप की वेबसाइट मतलब सर्च करते हो तो हो सकता है कि आप अपनी वेबसाइट को वहाँ ना देख रहे हो, लेकिन हो सकता है कि आपकी वेबसाइट दूसरे लोगों को दिखाई दे रही है. इसकी वजह से मतलब आप इसको आपके सर्च कंसोल में भी ये पेजेस आपको दिखाई दे रहे हैं क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं वो रैंक हुए हैं. और अगर इसके ऊपर जो CTR होता है, अगर उसकी भी कुछ अगर वैल्यू आपको दिखाई देती है, इसका मतलब ये है कि कुछ लोगों को आपका रिजल्ट दिखा है और उन्होंने उस पर क्लिक करके आपकी वेबसाइट विजिट भी की है। ठीक है, तो जैसा कि हमने बताया कि ये बहुत ही डायनामिक है, तो आप ये हो सकता है मतलब आप अपने सर्च कंसोल पर नजर रखिएगा किस तरह से आपके कीवर्ड्स परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं। और जैसा कि एनालिटिक्स सॉफ्टवेयर होते हैं, गूगल एनालिटिक्स जैसा है, आप इस सॉफ्टवेयर को भी यूज कर सकते हैं ये जानने के लिए कि मतलब आपके यूजर्स का बिहेवियर आपकी वेबसाइट पे क्या है, कौन से कीवर्ड्स वो डिस्कवर करके कहाँ से आपके पास आ रहे हैं। इस तरह से आप थोड़ा रिसर्च करके मतलब उसके जो भी आपके इनसाइट्स है वो उसको इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकते हो।
Okay, we'll see if we can pick some questions from the YouTube live event. Sorry about this. Okay, we have a question from Theodis. I have a pawn site, and like most other pawn sites, we use port 80 protocol because we have videos in iframes. This shouldn't negatively affect rankings, does it? So I think ideally we'd want videos indexed on the page and not on iframes, because technically we index that page, but iframes I would not recommend having iframe content. I mean, if you want to index that under that particular URL, then I'd not recommend having. Theodis, you're on the event. Like, do you have any follow-up questions for that? Sorry.
I don't think so.
Okay, you just take the next question. I have a website for Sydney for this is a question from Dharma. I have a website for Sydney for local services. There are more than 500 suburbs in Sydney. So how can I cover all the suburbs locations? Like, that sounds like I'm not sure if it's a logistical question or a search question, but if you're asking in terms of search, meaning like how can you cover all those locations under like maybe one URL or something, I wouldn't recommend that. Like, if you have a listing for one particular local I don't know, local business or something, like just make sure you have each listing in a unique URL, because if someone's searching for that particular listing, we'd like to show content from that just for that particular page. It doesn't make sense to like bombard all the listings on a single page and not have these listings in like separate unique pages.
So if you have some unique content that can add real value to local users, then you can create individual pages for these suburbs. And basically start with thinking about your users. Okay, what could be the best thing for them? Is a search engine best for them to look for things in their localities, or individual pages with navigational links? What is good for them? How things usually happen in your niche, for example. What are other websites doing? What is user behavior? What do users prefer? And things like that. You can basically do a little bit research and then decide. Because as Ashish mentioned, this may, search should not be a starting point for you to think about this. It should be your users, basically.
Okay, I missed the follow-up question. So he was asking, should I have multiple sites, subdomains, or should I use different content for each location? So one, I think it's fine if you want to use multiple sites or subdomains, but different content is definitely necessary, because we've been seeing this problem for quite some time. So what we're seeing is you have one service. Let's say you have a service called house cleaning services, and you basically have like for each suburb you have 100 different pages, but the content about cleaning services is same on all those 100 different pages. That doesn't make any sense, right? Why would users want to see the same content on all those pages? So what I'd recommend is you can have like the cleaning services content on one page and the listings separately, but like don't duplicate the same content on all those pages, because that wouldn't make any sense. And it's also like, it's not useful for the users too. So I recommend like for each local page, if you have any unique information for that local page, like instead of saying just cleaning or something, if you have any, I wouldn't think there's like, big difference between one suburb to suburb for like unique information. So I just recommend just have suburb information in those pages, but like don't create duplicate content for some of the like, core content, like whatever service you're providing, have that in one page. Don't repeat that in all the suburbs and local pages. We have a question from Rohil Raj. We have footer links from 200 plus client sites, and all of them are do follow, which is happening in the last 2 years because they're nescience with SEO. And now I've added no follow tags, submitted disavow files for all the root domains. Currently, we're ranking out of 20 plus pages for every keyword. So how much time it takes to show the result in Google search? So honestly, footer links are not necessarily bad. So if it's relevant, like say, if you provided a particular service for a client, and if you're clearly mentioning that, and it's not like you're not spamming the same link on all those pages. Sorry, I mean if you're not spamming like different kinds of links on all pages, I would think it's fine. Like as long as it's relevant, I think the link is generally fine. So you shouldn't really need to worry about like adding disavows and so on, because again, what we don't want is links that just focus on manipulating search results. If it's like a relevant link, then it's totally fine. So I'd say like I mean this is the problem. Sometimes people are not sure about like if something is affecting their site, and sometimes you could harm your website by like completely like no following all the links on your page and so on. So sometimes it could actually be negative to you. So I'd say like if you have questions about like 10 different types of links on your page, and you just want to understand like which could be something that's simply for search engines, or which could be something that users find value in, I'd say like just post it on the product forum and people can chip in, and then you can get a better idea on if you should actually no follow something, or you can actually keep the link. I hope that makes sense, Rohit. Okay.
I have one question.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
See, the thing is that let's say that if I made a post on November 1st, okay, and after 10 days, I did an update on the post. So what is the best way to tell Google, see, hey, Google, we have updated this thing? Is it like, should I change the date to the latest? Let's say that if I did an update on November 10th, should I change the date to November 10th? Like, what is the best way to tell Google? But the actual post I did on November 1st.
Like if there was a change, you can always use last modified header tags, HTTP header tags. So I'd say that's a good option.
Yeah, there is something called last modified date. So basically, this is to tell Google or any other bot that this page has been updated on so and so date. So either you can do this in your meta tags or through HTTP headers. I'll find that article out and then post in the comments. So that you can take a look and then implement it exactly how it is. But of course, as Ashish mentioned, if there are updates, then it is a good practice. But if there are no updates, if you just want to update this to make it appear as a fresh content, that may not be a good idea.
Ashish,
Question from the chat if you don't know.
Yeah, Ashish, actually, Arjun Singh has been pinging me that please ask my question, and I have added his question here also.
I'm able to take that question from him.
Yeah, okay.
So his question is, I reference some of the top authoritative links in my blog post, for example, support.google.com, but I use nofollow on all external links. So am I missing on any SEO advantages, for example? So again, sometimes nofollow can be bad, because if the link is relevant, I don't see why you should nofollow it. So nofollow is only for links that you are either selling. So if someone asks you to sponsor, if they sponsor some article on your page, and if they want a link back to their website, that is something we don't that is something that could be perceived as trying to manipulate search results. So we don't want those links. But if you as a content creator, if you are like writing an article and if you're linking to relevant sources, I don't see any reason for you to like no follow those particular links, because in fact, like that's how many times Google crawls the web, right? Because we find someone creating content and then linking to like legit sources. So if you have a good, if you think those links are relevant, and if you believe that those links are not for manipulating search engine rankings and just for your users, then I don't see any reason why you should no follow those links.
Yeah, but in his case, it is default CMS setting. So he wants to say that all links will be no follow. So will it harm me until I just rectify this or work on this?
Which CMS is this? I mean, you can always like change the setting, right?
So as far as the concern about what happens if I have all my links no followed, external links, right? So it is not going to affect your ranking as such if you no follow all the links. That is not going to affect you. But what Ashish was suggesting is it is not a good practice to no follow everything, all the links, right? So if you can do that, and generally, as Ashish was mentioning, CMSs would have an option where you say, okay, all links are actually primarily no followed, primarily not no followed, and you can selectively no follow links. That setting can be made. If you're able to do that, that will be great. But if your concern is like, okay, I want to keep it like this, meaning no following all the links by default, will it harm me? Actually, no.
So Arjun Singh said, I'm talking about page expert score. So again, authoritativeness, it comes not like it's based only on links or anything of that sort. It could like there are multiple factors involved. Even backlinks are also involved. So again, like on-page links, I'd say if you can like on-page links, it shouldn't affect too much. And if you can like no follow those, please do.
And I'm not sure if the setting on your CMS is also for the navigational links and internal links that you have. So I think the best thing to do here is to not have, I mean, ideal situation, do not no follow everything by default, right? Only the links that you think should be no followed per Google's quality guidelines. You can no follow those links, and all the rest of the links, internal and external, you can just leave them as followed.
Yeah, and also regarding like, if you want to like generally like if you want Google to perceive your page as like authoritative on a particular information source, I'd say like beyond links and so on, like content is the key. Like content is the biggest piece. Like as long as the content is like really good, like if you no follow, like the other things are minor. We can take questions from the YouTube live. So it's a question from Archana. My website has product pages. These product pages may not be different from same product pages of some other website like iPhone 7. Is such duplicacy fine? So if you have the same product page as like one on Amazon or iPhone, so let's say you have a product listing on Amazon, and like if you have the same content on your website also, like I would ask you, like, what do you think is the difference? So on Amazon, they can actually buy that, but on your page, even if they click on it, they'll still have to go back to Amazon. So what other like unique information are you providing? Because we wouldn't want to like rank both pages, right? Because users will be getting the same content in both listings. So that is not something that we want. We'd want like to provide like other unique content in that, but from your page. So I'd say if you have like for product listing pages, try and like add something more beneficial to users. Obviously, you can't change the product listing from your site, but you can definitely add more information. You can add like your review of that particular product, and then you can like ask your readers to add their reviews of that particular product and so on. or you can, like, if you have that product with you, or if you're selling that product by yourself, you can post images of that product that you own, and like shipping information, and that's unique to your particular website. Because again, if the like all the content, if it's the same on both the, like say an Amazon page and your page, then ideally we'd want to like show only one of those pages on search results.
तो नरेंद्र का एक सवाल है कुछ इसी लाइंस पर, उन्होंने हिंदी में पूछा है कि मतलब उनकी एक वेबसाइट है जहां पर बहुत सारे पेजेस हैं जिस पर बहुत सारा डुप्लीकेट कंटेंट हो सकता है, क्योंकि जॉब पोस्टिंग्स के बारे में उनकी वेबसाइट है और सारा कंटेंट सेम होता है, सिर्फ मतलब वैकेंसी का जो नंबर होता है और सिटी जो होता है वो चेंज होता है पेज पर। तो क्या ये दुरुस्त है, क्या ये डुप्लीकेट कंटेंट में काउंट किया जाएगा? नरेंद्र, अगर आप, आशीष ने अभी इसी सिमिलर लाइंस पर जवाब दिया है, अगर आपको समझ नहीं आया तो आप हमें हिंट दे सकते हैं, हम आपको फिर दोबारा हिंदी में समझा देंगे, क्योंकि इन्होंने अभी इसी को अंग्रेजी में बताया है। हम इसको अभी स्किप करते हैं। एक दूसरा सवाल है हिंदी में पीताम्बर की तरफ से, वो पूछते हैं HTTPS के बारे में। पीताम्बर, शायद आपके सवाल का पहला भाग जो है वो हमें बराबर से समझ नहीं आया, लेकिन आपका जो दूसरा भाग है आपके प्रश्न का, वो ये है कि HTTP से HTTPS सेम पेज रीडायरेक्ट करना कंपलसरी है या होम पेज पर रीडायरेक्ट कर सकते हैं? तो अगर आपने अपनी वेबसाइट को मूव किया है HTTP से HTTPS पर, तो आपको ये करना चाहिए कि आपके सारे जो HTTP के जो पेजेस थे उनको HTTPS पर ही रीडायरेक्ट करें, ना कि होम पेज पर। होम पेज पर रीडायरेक्ट करने से बहुत सारा कंफ्यूजन होता है यूजर को, और गूगल को भी कंफ्यूजन होता है। और अगर आप कोई अपने पुराने वाले HTTP पेज से HTTPS होम पेज को अगर रीडायरेक्ट करते हैं, तो हो सकता है कि हम वो पेज को इंडेक्स ही ना करें, क्योंकि हमें कंटेंट, वो जो पेज पर जो कंटेंट था वो हम देख नहीं पाएंगे और उसको इंडेक्स भी नहीं कर पाएंगे। अगर ऐसा सिचुएशन आपके पास है कि कोई HTTP पेज अब एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता है HTTPS पे मूव होने के बाद, तो फिर आप होम पेज पर रीडायरेक्ट करने के बजाय आप सीधे 404 उस पर स्टेटस कोड सेंड कर सकते हो, एरर सेंड कर सकते हो, जिससे गूगल को पता चल जाएगा कि ये पेज अब फिर मतलब लाइव नहीं है, बाकी नहीं है, तो हम उस तरह से उसको फिर कंसिडर करेंगे।
Okay, we have, if we don't have any live questions, we'll take one from the chat from Arjun. Is Google Panda somehow related to PageRank? Because whenever any new page is created, Google gives them some PageRank by default as per recursive algorithm calculation. So one, like I'd say Panda is less about PageRank and more about the content on your site. So it's like, if you have any, if your content is not, I would say, like there's an article that we posted quite some time back on creating high quality content and like how to create high quality websites, web pages. So if your so if your content is not useful to users as according to Google, that's when like Panda could affect you. So like Panda and PageRank are like completely different things. And if you have any follow-up questions, you can just add there. So I'm sure you have some other follow-up questions.
Okay, in the meanwhile, नरेंद्र ने पूछा है कि सर आप हिंदी में एक बार फिर से रिपीट कर सकते हैं। तो नरेंद्र, मैं आपको ये बताना चाहूँगा कि अगर आपकी जो जॉब वाली वेबसाइट है उस पर अगर सारे सिटी पेजेस पर अगर बहुत सारा यूनिक कंटेंट नहीं है, जिससे बहुत सारी मतलब उस सिटी पेज पर आने वाले यूजर को अगर बहुत सारा उससे मतलब फायदा नहीं पहुंचता है, तो फिर ऐसे पेजेस रखना आपकी वेबसाइट पर शायद ज्यादा फायदेमंद नहीं है, आपके लिए भी, आपके यूजर्स के लिए भी। अगर आप इन पेजेस को मतलब अगर एक जॉब पोस्टिंग आती है और वो अलग अलग सिटीज में अगर वो जॉब पोस्टिंग अगर होती है, तो अगर आपका काम इससे चल जाएगा कि आप सिर्फ एक पेज बनाएं और सारे सिटीज को लिस्ट कर दें, तो अगर ये यूजर्स के लिए आपके बेहतर है, तो ये अप्रोच फिर आपको लेना सही है, ना कि अलग अलग पेजेस क्रिएट करें और उन पर सारा डुप्लीकेट कंटेंट हो और सिर्फ वहां पर सिटी बदलें। ये अच्छा अप्रोच नहीं है, क्योंकि आप यूजर की तरफ से भी अगर सोचेंगे, तो अगर मुझे देखना है कि ये पोस्टिंग कौन से सिटीज में अवेलेबल है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल तो मुझे एक सिटी पेज पर जाने से पता नहीं चलेगा कि कौन से सिटीज में ये अवेलेबल है, और सिर्फ मुझे जो कंटेंट मिलेगा मतलब सारे सिटी पेजेस पर सेम कंटेंट होगा, सिर्फ जॉब नंबर और सिटी चेंज होगी। तो ये मतलब ये कुछ ज्यादा फायदे वाली चीज नहीं है यूजर्स के लिए भी।
Hello.
Yeah, sorry, we just take one question from the YouTube live pages. So we have a question from Dharma. What if one page shows random content? Will it affect the ranking? I believe this is a follow-up question to the local listings pages. So I'd say, sorry, I'd say like, what do you mean by random content? So if it's like completely irrelevant content, just I'd say, I mean, like, why would you want to add that? Like, if you don't think it's useful for your users, I don't see any reason why you would have that. But if it's like a separate page, and if it doesn't really affect the other content on your local listing pages, it's not like it's bad for ranking or anything of that sort. But like, I mean, you can just no index that page if you don't think it's useful for being shown on search results. But again, I'm not completely clear on what do you mean by random content. Like, okay, we have a question. Sorry, we'll just take one more from here. We have a question from Chintan Doshi. Star ratings are not visible on Google searches. It is visible with site : searches. So implementation is right. Ratings reviews displayed on the website are genuine. Posted in Google forum already. So I'm assuming this is regarding rich snippets. Rich snippets sometimes, while the technical guidelines, like is completely implemented properly. In fact, you can use the structured data testing tool to check that. There are some quality guidelines sometimes that you could be not following, which is why we may not be showing your rich snippets on search. So you can just check our rich snippets, quality guidelines, and see if you're if you're making any mistake there. Like for sometimes something simple like hiding the markup using CSS or something like that. So those stuff like that is not recommended. So even if it's technically correct, from a quality perspective, we do not recommend those. So like please check. In a help center, we have an article on rich snippets quality guidelines. Just check if you're missing any of those. And even if you if everything is completely fine there, then maybe there's some issue on our side. Maybe like we can just take it.
Yeah, so basically it is not a guarantee whenever you apply rich snippets to read rate. Basically, it is not a guarantee that we will start showing it in the search results. So when you do a site : your site, if the rich snippets are showing correctly, that means your implementation is correct and Google has recognized that. However, when your website is listed for a keyword in the search rankings, it is not guaranteed that we will show rich snippets for your site. It may also be happening so that probably some users are actually seeing some rich snippets for some of your pages sometimes. So it is very dynamic in nature. Again, what which URL we pick to show this rich snippets for. Of course, we cannot show rich snippets for all the 10 pages that we show in the search results, right? So we'll have to pick a URL or two to show the rich snippets for. So it is very dynamic in nature. So if everything is correct, even if you are following the policy, and if you have correctly implemented in technical wise, it's not a guarantee basically.
Yeah, thanks Neeraj for like pinging the result. So again, with regards to Hindi, sometimes like we are probably not recognizing, or sometimes it's more that there's not much content in the first place properly to like index it. But again, like it could simply be a ranking issue from our side. Like we're not just properly recognizing.
Yes, Ashish, actually I shared this because these two entities are quite different from each other. I am just searching Sensex and Google is showing quite different kind of thing.
Yeah. This
is why.
Yeah, this definitely shouldn't happen. Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah, Neeraj, I think we have seen this problem a bit earlier as well, and we're working on this. Basically, of course, as Ashish mentioned, Hindi search is not as perfect as English search because of various reasons. One of those reasons is we do not have enough content in Hindi in the first place to show to our users. But if you find more such specific things or problems in Hindi search, do keep sending those to us.
Yes, actually, this was also posted 1 month back in India Webmaster Forum, Google Plus page. So I was just checking if Google has improved this kind of searches, and still I was just having the same result. So this is why also I just shared this with you.
Yeah, Neeraj, so good point basically. So I'll let you know one thing, that when we see these kind of problems with search, it is not like one-on-one action that we would intend to take. Rather, we would want to improve the algorithm itself, at a larger scale, so that we do not have these kinds of problems. So it is not just that one result we will try to adjust, but understand where the problem in the algorithm is, and then fix that problem at the root, right? So it may take some time for us to, for you to start seeing correct results for these kind of things. So give us some time and keep reporting these kind of problems, and hopefully we all together can improve Hindi search.
Sure.
So we have a question from Arjun on, like, does Google assign initial page rank for canonical or no index web pages? So if it's no index, then we will not have it in the index, so there won't be anything for us to assign. But if it's like a canonical page, like, I mean, I'm sure like there will be some amount of PR signal that we'll have for a particular page. But again, so right now page rank is not visible publicly, and in fact, like, I'd recommend, like, don't think about page rank. So like, there are a lot of other important things you can do for your the content on your website. So again, like, for your question, yeah, yes is the answer, but I'd say, like, please, like, don't really focus too much on page rank. So we're over time, so unfortunately we have to leave. So if you have any...
Hello sir, मैं आपकी 1 मिनट लेना चाहूँगा.
Okay, like, go ahead. You take the last question.
Hello, सही है सर, नमस्कार.
हाँ जी, बताइए. नरेंद्र
सर, मेरा उसी से रिलेटेड एक सवाल है कि वो क्या होता है कि डिस्ट्रिक्ट वाइज आती है जॉब, मतलब जॉब वही होती है जैसे कि जूनियर रिसर्च फेलो, तो जॉब वही होती है, लेकिन आज समझ लो एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट ने वो जॉब निकाली है, उसमें 10 वैकेंसी है, लेकिन 10 दिन बाद में वही वैकेंसी होती है, सेम वही कंटेंट होता है, सिर्फ सिटी और वैकेंसी चेंज होती है और दूसरी डिस्ट्रिक्ट उसको वही जॉब डालती है, तो ऐसे अलग अलग डिस्ट्रिक्ट डालती है.
अच्छा,
तो उसमें क्या करना चाहिए?
जी नहीं, धन्यवाद आपको क्लैरिफाई करने के लिए आपका सवाल. तो मैं जहां तक समझा हूं, आपका सवाल ये है कि मतलब एक जॉब पोस्टिंग जिसके बारे में आप बात कर रहे हो, वो मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि वो एक ही बार में सारे डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में ओपन की गई हो सकता है कि मतलब हाँ, आज एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट में ओपन की गई है, फिर वो डिस्ट्रिक्ट से निकाल दी गई, फिर दूसरे डिस्ट्रिक्ट में ओपन की गई.
जी सर.
जी. तो बेशक, मतलब जैसा कि मैं आपको पहले बता रहा था कि मतलब अगर ये अगर समझ लीजिए कि ये डिस्ट्रिक्ट से अगर आप वो पोस्ट निकाल दी गई है, तो आपके लिए बेहतर ये होगा कि आप वो अपनी वेबसाइट से मतलब पेज में निकाल दें, या फिर किसी तरह से उसको आर्काइव कर दें अगर आपके पास आपकी वेबसाइट में वो सिस्टम है. और नई सिटी के लिए आप जरूर एक नया पेज बना सकते हो, और फिर जो कंटेंट है, जो पुराना कंटेंट था, आप उसको यहाँ पे बिल्कुल डाल सकते हैं इस सिचुएशन में.
लेकिन सर उसमें एक प्रॉब्लम रहती है, क्योंकि उसकी लास्ट डेट जो होती है ना, वो पूरी नहीं होती है, उससे पहले ही दूसरी डिस्ट्रिक्ट की जॉब आ जाती है, तो मैं उसको भी नहीं हटा सकता और नया डालनी पड़ेगी मेरी.
हाँ, तो मतलब इस सिचुएशन में जहां पर आपके पास ऐसा लगता है कि आपको मतलब मल्टीपल डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स हैं सेम जॉब पोस्टिंग के लिए, तो आप ये भी कर सकते हैं कि मतलब एक ही पेज पर डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स को मतलब चेंज करते जा सकते हैं. और फिर या फिर आपकी वेबसाइट में ऐसा भी सिस्टम एक हो सकता है जहाँ पे लोग मतलब सिटी वाइज सर्च करें, इन सिटीज में कौन से मतलब जॉब पोस्टिंग्स ओपन हैं, और आपके पास एक ही पेज होगा एक जॉब पोस्टिंग के लिए, उसके ऊपर सारे सिटीज लिस्टेड होंगे, और ये पेज आप अलग अलग सिटीज के जो टैग्स होते हैं या फिर सर्च होती है, उसके अंडर में आप एक ही पेज को बार बार बता सकते हैं. तो इस तरह का भी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन आपके पास हो सकता है. लेकिन जहां तक हो सके कोशिश कीजिएगा कि मतलब सिर्फ सिटी का अगर नाम बदलता है, तो आपको मतलब हर सिटी के लिए मतलब 50 सिटीज के लिए 50 अलग अलग पेजेस बनाने से बेहतर ये है कि आप एक पेज बनाएं और उसको अलग अलग टैग्स के अंडर में आप उसको बता सकते हैं, कैटेगरीज के अंदर में उसको बता सकते हैं. इस तरह का इम्प्लीमेंटेशन आप कर सकते हैं.
ओके, थैंक यू सर.
You're most welcome.
Thanks for attending, guys. we'll catch up again.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of questions we are not able to take, but we will see you next time, and hopefully you can bring these questions back, or feel free to post some of your pressing questions in our forums or in our Google Plus Webmaster India community.
We have a Hindi hangout coming up in 2 weeks, and we'll have another English hangout in around the same time. Thanks, guys.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Tell me who is online here. हेलो, मेरे आने से सब चले गए क्या? तो हद हो गई यार, ऐसा तो मैंने कभी सोचा नहीं था। अब क्या?